Hi guys, this is Mantras, and I'm going to now do my general review of what I thought about The Walking Dead Season 7, Episodes 1 to 8. This is going to be a general discussion of the first 8 episodes. If you want to see my reviews for the first 8 episodes individually, those will be on my Facebook channel. Well, Facebook page, sorry, not channel. But here on my YouTube channel, I'm only going to do what are called general reviews, which means I'm only going to do maybe 3 videos per season where I review the front half in its entirety, the back half in its entirety, and then I'll do a video about the third video will be the season as a whole, basically. Alright, so Season 7 so far, to me personally, was a letdown in a way. It's very disappointing of how they chose to impact at least the first 6 episodes to be bottled episodes, and then take the last 2 and do proper, episodes that showed pretty much all the characters. So our season starts off with the cliffhanger ending, and again, we start off on a bad foot. It takes 2 commercial breaks before we finally get to see who Negan takes out. But we find out that he does take out Abraham and Glenn. Spoiler for those who have not seen this yet, but the first half is over, and if you haven't seen the episode by now, you obviously didn't want to see season 7. So yeah, we lost Glenn and Abraham right at the beginning. Negan takes Daryl as a hostage. Negan also takes Rick on a little adventure riding RV. He throws him into a pile of walkers, tells him to go get his axe. Brings Rick back. Rick is still not being cooperative, so he threatens Rick to cut Carl's arm off, or everyone, including him, eventually will die. Rick finally does. Negan finally tells him that, you're going to work for me. And Rick pretty much implies that Negan leaves. Now, that's episode 1. The problem I have with this episode is that the majority of it is just that. It's just the rest of what should have been the season 6 finale. And personally, I really felt like episode 1 should have covered more than just Negan breaking Rick down. Episode 1 should have been the rest of the Negan scene, Negan killing the 2 people. We cut out that stupid go get my axe garbage, and instead of that, we just go right to after Rick says, I'm gonna kill you, Negan tells him no you don't, or no you won't. Then he threatens to cut Carl's arm off, and we go right to that instead of doing the whole, alright, drag him in the RV, go get my axe, go do that. A whole bunch of wasted time, in my personal opinion. Then we go from, if they would have done this, then we went from that to Negan leaving, to Rick and taking everyone to the hilltop. Not this breakup garbage of Rick takes the majority of the people back to Alexandria, and Maggie and Sasha take Glenn and Abraham's body to the hilltop, and this is why we got the split. I thought that was dumb. Everyone should have went to the hilltop. We should have found out what happened with the baby in the first episode, not waiting to episode 5, which is what they do. They wait until episode 5, not to episode 5, to where you see Maggie and Sasha at the hilltop. No. Episode 2, I have no problems with. That was okay for a bottled episode, especially after the hectiveness that we got from episode 1. Episode 2, we find out what happens with Morgan and Carol at the kingdom. We meet Ezekiel. We meet Sheba. You all can correct that in the comics. in the comments down below. I mean, it's one of the two, but we meet his tiger, and we get to see the kingdom and what it's about. All right, that's about a slow episode. I don't mind that. Episode 3, we get to see the sanctuary. This is not the big sanctuary episode where Carl goes to the sanctuary. No, that's later. But then you get episode 3, and we get to see the sanctuary. And this is more of another bottled episode. And it's not a Morgan. I'm sorry. It's Negan, Dwight, and Daryl. And it's pretty much Daryl and Negan trying to break Daryl, and it's not working. And Daryl tries to escape, and it fails. And it's just, I feel a wasted episode. They could have infused in with something else. Then we get episode 4. Episode 4 is Negan coming to Alexandria to collect his first payment, as he says. And this episode is where people really just got annoyed with Negan. Another thing of why the ratings are dropping is Negan is really not helping this show at all. From what I'm hearing with the views are going down. People are not liking the Negan takeover, and it's what's really messing up this season. At least this front half. Episode 5, like I said, is the Maggie and Sasha episode. At the hilltop, we learn that Maggie's okay. When she got into the fight with the Saviors at the compound, the uterus separated. Something separated from something. It was some technical shit, but somehow the baby got separated from something, and that caused a little bit of problems, but she's okay. The baby's fine. As I figured, it's like I said, they had a choice. You either kill Glenn or you kill the baby. And considering what I heard about the season 7 premiere and all the rewrites and retakes of the first episode, originally Maggie and Glenn were supposed to be the two that die. So, regardless of how they rewrote the script, Glenn was going to die anyway. It was changed to Abraham at the last minute. But like I said, they had a choice. You either kill Glenn or you kill the baby. You're not going to kill both. So they chose to kill Glenn, naturally. And the baby's okay. Episode 6 is pretty much the Tara. It's really a Tara episode. Heath has a small part in it. But Tara and Heath are on their supply run. They get separated. No one knows where Heath is. He's not dead, but we don't know what happened to him. He's just gone. Okay, whatever. Tara finds this group at Oceanside. This group of women. Why are there no men in this group? It's because the men chose to fight back, and so Negan killed all the men. All the men from the ages of 10 and up were wiped out. So that's that episode. And Tara gets back from Oceanside. She gets back to Alexandria. And she promised the women that she wouldn't tell anybody where they were. So unfortunately, when Tara gets back and Rosita asks her, did you find anything out there? Naturally, she says no. So, those are all the bottled episodes. Episodes 1 to 6. It took me 9 minutes to do that. But, this is the problem. Now, the last 2 episodes are pretty much... they're a mixture of where they show a little bit of everybody. Episode 7 is Carl going to the hilltop. I'm not the hilltop. Going to the sanctuary. He does take Edith to the hilltop. That's how he gets into Negan's truck to go to the sanctuary. Which should have been episode 4, but for some reason they waited until episode 5. Okay. Also so that Jesus can jump in the back with him, because Sasha told Jesus to go find out where Negan lives. And so when Jesus gets back into the truck, there's Carl. So both of them go to the sanctuary. Jesus decides to jump out so he can scope the sanctuary from the outside. Carl tricks him, doesn't jump out afterwards. Carl goes in, he kills 2 of Negan's men. Negan, instead of killing Carl, takes a tour, shows him a tour around the sanctuary. He pokes fun at Carl. He tells him to take off his bandage, makes him cry, makes him sing a song. Then you got Michonne's side of things. She finds a savior, tells her to take. Michonne wants the savior to take her to Negan. She does, or at least as we find out in episode 8, she only takes her to where the sanctuary is, and then Michonne sees where it is, and then she turns back around. But you have Rick and Aaron on a supply run to get supplies for Negan. And that's in episodes 7 and 8. So you see that going on. Let's see. You have Father Gabriel and Spencer out on supply. So everyone's out on supply runs pretty much, trying to get stuff for the saviors. Rosita is bullying Eugene to make a bullet, which she uses in episode 8. We'll get to that one next. And Negan brings Carl back home, and he's waiting for Rick to come back with his stuff. So he stays there pretty much overnight, because like Olivia said, they went out very far and they might not be back today. So that implied that Negan stayed there all night. And that's episode 7, pretty much. It was a good episode. It was right out of the comics. I'm just giving you all like the basic important stuff. But that's pretty much what episode 7 was. Episode 8, the mid-finale. Now, this is how the season wraps up for the front half. Negan shaving. Negan still being a dick around Alexandria. Rick and Aaron are still out on their supply run. They do get the stuff. They come back. Like I said, Michonne gets to see where the sanctuary is. She kills the savior that took her there because that's what she told her to do. Drives the car back. Drives into a lake and destroys it, I suppose. Just like the savior told her to. Take this car, destroy it, make sure it disappears, and then, take the silencer in the glove compartment. And she didn't say kill me, but that's probably why she told her where it was. And so back in Alexandria, Negan and Spencer are playing pool. Spencer is pretty much trying to get Negan to do his dirty work for him and telling him, put me in charge and get rid of Rick. Negan's not having it. Negan kills Spencer, spills his guts all out on the floor, pretty much what he does in the comics. Spencer dies. Rosita sees this. Rosita gets mad, and this is where she uses the bullet that Eugene made for her in episode 7. She shoots at Negan, ends up shooting Lucille. Negan gets pissed off, and because Rosita won't tell him the truth about who made the bullet, Olivia orders one of his lieutenants, Orat, to kill one more person. And she ends up killing Olivia. And then Olivia dies. Rick and Aaron have come back. Rick now sees this. Rick's like, look, we had an agreement. Negan says, well, hey, look, Spencer was going to kill you. I took him out for you. And this one, talking to Rosita, and this one tries to kill me, so I gave you one less mouth to feed. Rick pretty much tells him, your stuff's at the gate, take it, get out. Negan says, that's fine, I will, as soon as I find out who made this bullet. He does. Eugene finally, well, first Tara says it was me. Eugene cuts her off, says, no, it was me. Negan says, okay, I'm going to relieve you of your bullet maker and everything that you left me at the gate. Negan leaves. Rick talks with Michonne. they both come to agreement that it's time to fight back. Daryl has escaped the sanctuary. Now, a lot of people think it's Jesus who got Daryl out. I don't think that's true. I think Jesus just happened to be there. I think it was Dwight who got Daryl out of there. But until it's proven, we're going with Jesus because we still don't know. So it could be Jesus. People could be right. It could have been Jesus who got him out of there. Or it could have been Dwight, which we won't find out until episode 16 due to the fact that, here's a little spoiler alert for people who don't have any, but Dwight's only been, for the back half of season 7, Dwight's only in 2 episodes, episode 11 and episode 16. And in episode 11, he's filming with Eugene and Negan. No Rick, no anyone else. So I'm thinking the whole part about Dwight telling Rick that he wants to join his side is probably going to be episode 16 due to the fact that Rick and everyone else is in episode 16. So Daryl has escaped. Rick and all of them go to the hilltop. They greet Maggie. Rick tells Maggie, look, I know you said that we should have fought before. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't listen to you before. I can now. And then Daryl walks out. Him and Rick share a hug. Daryl gives Rick back his gun. And then they all walk into the mansion at the hilltop. And that's where the episode ends. So they're all back, pretty much all back reunited. And now they're working a plan to take on Negan. That's why the back half of the season's tagline is Rise Up. Which I'm kind of disappointed that they called it Rise Up. The tagline is Rise Up and not March to War, which is what the next storyline is. Because now we're done with the Something to Fear and the What Comes After storyline. And now we're doing the March to War. But okay, so that's the entire front half. Like I say, the last 2 episodes are the best 2 episodes, to me personally. The first episode is good-ish, only in the fact that we finally get to see who died, which we should have saw at the end of season 6. But episode 1 is just it's so depressing. It's very depressing. And this entire whole front half, even though I said before season 7 even started that this season was going to be slow. Because after Negan kills who he kills, the story has to reboot and Rick has to get his mojo back. But I was not expecting it to be this slow. And sure enough, it was. And they're going to make us wait for the Rise Up in the back half. Alright. Which further proves my point that season 8 is definitely going to be all out war. Because there's no way you can do the March to War storyline and start all out war in this back half of season 7. So now that I broke down the entire front half, these are the 3 problems with this entire front half of the season. Number 3, the bottled episodes. Number 2, well actually no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry, no. Number 3 is the pacing. It's always pacing. Number 2, it's the bottled episodes, which is causing the bad pacing. And then there's Negan, and how AMC chose to write Negan and the Saviors in this season. They're over the top. They're just over the top bullies, and they're unlikable. And yeah, they're villains. They're supposed to be, but the point is, this entire front half has been nothing but depressing. Negan and his boys just dominating all of the heroes and all the survivors. No one wants to see that. And unfortunately, because this whole front half is our group being beat on and threatened and just not getting no wins at all, has made this front half very unenjoyable. It's not an enjoyable half to watch. for anyone who had to watch this weekly, unless you watch this episode, unless you watch this season one episode a week, you're not gonna probably feel the same way as the rest of us feel. Like if you watch this off of Netflix and you got to watch the whole season straight through, you probably won't feel the exact same way because you get to see the whole season at one time. But for people who have to watch this season and just this front half, one episode at a time, like I said, I don't blame anyone who wants to drop out after this. Like, come on. No one wants to see this anymore. But those are the three problems of this entire front half. And it's really sad that they chose to write Negan this way due to the fact that, yes, Jeffrey D. Morgan has renewed his contract for another season, next season 8. So he is still going to be around for the next maybe 2 seasons, 3, who knows. But they really messed up writing Negan this way because now I think they're going to have no choice but to kill him off because no one's going to want to see him after this season. But we'll see how that works. That's my thoughts on the entire front half. It's just very depressing. The last 2 episodes you might get a little sense of a rise out, because our group finally starts to get some wins, even though we lose 2 more people. And Eugene gets kidnapped by Negan, naturally because he takes him with him. But yeah, other than that, I give this entire first half of the season maybe a B-. And that's just me being nice. I could be mean. I could give it a freaking C, but I won't. And that's only due to the excellent acting of Andrew Lincoln and Jeffrey D. Morgan. That's it. But yeah, I give it a B-. I will be back and I'll do the entire back half. And that's all I have to say for now.